You on the channel here over on Subscribestar. So let me use this brief exchange as a pretty good example of kind of the schism between us and the. So what you're saying is, insert straw man argument here, crowd. Toxic Witcher fans. Oh no. So what happened is Witcher Blood Origin. If you've been paying attention to pop culture, there's been a whole string of shoes. I forgot about Cowboy Bebop. There's a whole string of things that have come out lately that are kind of leaving people scratching their heads. And Witcher Blood Origin, as well as, like, I'll say Wheel of Time and Willow are examples of things that you just look at and like, we're on fundamentally different pages here. Like this seems more indicative of a more serious example of irreconcilable differences between worldviews of people. To look at those three shows, they're just shows. Yikes, my guy, touch some grass or something. It's propaganda that you just want us to casually accept. I mean, we can see who these people are because you can get on Twitter and you can see who the people are who defend it. So Blood Origin got a low reviewer score, and it also got a much lower audience score. I think it's 7%, they said, was the history of Rotten Tomatoes. The reviewer score is in the 30s and 40s, and they say, oh, well, that's perfectly fine and valid because those are coming from professional soy boy reviewers. Like, keep in mind, a professional reviewer is someone who just starts a blog and starts reviewing, and then that blog gets picked up. And it's like, oh, okay, now you're a professional reviewer. Oh, that's all it takes? Yeah, that's all. What do you think it takes? You think these people are going to get, like, going out and getting PhDs in film reviewing school or something? No, they're just people with blogs. But the 7 to 10% audience score must be by the Chad haters and grass touchers or lack of grass touchers. So soy boys now are on Twitter trying to attack people who say that Blood Origin was cancer. When you call something woke, it triggers them because it has varied meanings, but it signals to the other Chads that the show is going to be misandrist or anti-white or full of purse puppies or Mary Sues. It signals that it is written by soy boys and cat ladies, which it definitely is. It's like the Mary Sue was putting all this stuff together. So the soy boys arguing in defense of the show are the worst negative advertising for the show possible. And they don't understand how that works. Because, it's like you're telling us, okay, so you like the show, and then we look at you and like, you're just a soy boy where like you hate anything and everything. Anything you like is not something we're likely to be on board with. And it's weird how they're not cognizant of that. No, you should listen to me and my 12 followers. People call the show woke and they just move on. They don't have to break it down. Like, it's an opinion. We look at, oh, this is woke cancer, move on. But why? You have to explain it to me. You have to justify. No, we don't have to adjust. It's a buyer-seller relationship. Once the buyer sees something is not to their tastes, or there's enough people of like-minded opinion who are signaling that it's not to their taste, they're just going to move on from it. They're not going to sit and debate why the show is cancerous. And then this guy tries to like reframe propaganda as somehow, oh, we should give propaganda a chance. Why would I? Why wouldn't you give propaganda? Why wouldn't you, the globalist propaganda, right? Well, why wouldn't you give nationalist propaganda a chance? Like, well, nationalist shows probably don't get made in Hollywood. They don't have to break the show down. It's unwatchable. It's a binary decision tree, I guess. You see a stunning and brave purse puppy attacking an evil blonde man. Like, yeah, okay, that's over. It's like, you only saw 5 minutes of the show. Yeah, that's all I need to see. It's like, I saw more than that, but I'm never disappointed if you see that first 5 minutes of any kind of show where they do something like that. Like, and you just know the woman or the soy boy, the cat lady or the soy boy who wrote that scene. Like, so it was a evil blonde man in a bar slapping around another blonde woman, and then our purse puppy has to attack the evil blonde man in the bar. That was the beginning of Avatar Part 1, I think. And that was that was like 10 years ago. I don't know, 2013 or something. It's that's how obvious this stuff is. Once you notice it, and you go, oh, so what is this? Blood Origin. So you got an evil blonde man in a bar who's about to snuggle a girl, and the purse puppy Mary Sue has to attack him. Once you see this stuff, you can never unsee it. It's a one-way journey. So they want you watching their propaganda, even if they literally themselves don't watch the propaganda, which is often the case. If these woke people watch the shows, they wouldn't get canceled, but they don't watch the shows either. It's like Charlie's Angels with Elizabeth Banks. Men need to see this show. It's like, but there's plenty of women out there who could make your show successful. Oh, but women don't see action adventure movies. Well, men drag them to see the movies. Okay, so then why didn't you make a movie for men? Because we're making propaganda. We're not making escapist entertainment. Let me explain it in a way that seems like an ad hominem, and maybe it is. One of the soy boys defending the show or attacking the people calling it woke cancer, I look at his Twitter, he's been on for 10 years and he has 53 followers. And that's important. I scroll his tweets. He's a left-wing whiner, just whining about everything. But my point, isn't an ad hominem. It's to show that his ideas don't have a big following, or he isn't able to convey them in a way that connects with people. Where he asks why something is woke, we explain, well, the purse puppy in the European folklore beating up a European evil blonde man, that's one of the answers. It's an opinion based on the show. That one sentence. Well, that one sentence explains a couple different things. Why is there a purse puppy in European folklore at all? That's point one. And then point two is why is blonde man bad every single time? And you look at him like, well, they don't have an answer for any of that. But it doesn't matter if you do have an answer, because it's based on opinion. It's like, yeah, I see that, and that's the part of that decision tree. It's like, oh, this is not source materials. This is not respecting the source material, and you're making blonde man bad yet again instead of some other group bad. So it's decision tree says points, this is woke propaganda, and moves on. You give the guy the answer and he'll immediately strawman you with, so what you're saying is, and then they insert the strawman argument here. The goal of this is to bring support in on his side, to reframe the argument into something that fits within his current cultural Marxist framework. It doesn't matter if it's Witcher, Rings of Power, Wheel of Time, Cowboy Bebop, Willow. There's a lot of just weirdly bad stuff out there. If you change the source material, we call that woke. That's one of the definitions. We don't want to see propaganda from soy boys and cat ladies who either hate themselves or the source material. Soy boys are cringy. The stuff they write is cringy. Propaganda is cringy. They don't like cringy or woke or a lot of these other hot words I like to use. There is no willing suspension of disbelief when we see dark and fair on the cover of something, because we know who the protagonists and antagonists are. Why would we want to see ourselves replaced in our own stories? We value the European people. There's a fundamental schism. We value us, and you don't value us, but you value everyone who's not us. You're not going to make us not value us. In fact, the opposite is true. People are starting to get these in-group preferences back again, which is a good thing. Will probably help improve storytelling if you tell more tribal stories. If you want to tell a new story with whoever from around the world, United Colors of Bennington actor checklist you want to tell, then just write a new story. But they complain, oh, it takes too long for the new story to catch on. It's like, yeah, but everyone goes through that when you create something. When you do anything, it's like, yeah, it might not. Some stuff catches on like wildfire. True. Most stuff doesn't. Most stuff is a very slow, smoldering burn. You tell a story, like what was that zombie cartoon, Walking Dead comic book? I look it up on the bookshelf. I've got the two books. Walking Dead was something like that, where it caught fire instantly. Most stuff doesn't catch fire instantly. You have to build an audience, and it might take years, it might take a decade, and then a decade later or decades later, somebody turns it into a show. And these people in Hollywood or these kind of soy boys who are working on these streaming shows, they don't want to do that. I don't even know if they think America will be around in a decade, and it probably won't be in the present form. The thing is, nobody wants their new Bolshevik propaganda story. Well, that's your answer right there. These soy people are pushing ideas that can't find an audience. That's the answer. Their propaganda isn't subtle enough for the cattle. Just dial it down to CNN and Fox levels. They are globalists. Most people are naturally nationalists and tribal. We want to see tribal stories, not globalist stories. There is no tribe of all these different people living together. Look around at modern day. Different people hate each other. It is nonstop fighting. And so what you're saying is... But I literally am saying what I'm saying. You don't need to reformat the argument to try to virtue signal to get people in to dogpile on social media. All you're seeing is conflict with people who have different ways of life. Why do I want to see a Bolshevik fantasy world where not only is everyone mixed, but blonde man is always going to be bad? You know, if they wanted to turn their stories around, That would be the one thing to start with. I mean, there's a lot of things to start with, and it's like literally they will take none of these concerns seriously. They just hate you. It's not that deep. They just hate you and the part of the world you're from. Soy boy Bolsheviks have ideas that are not popular. We can see the failure of globalism all around us. The West has been shown firsthand what adverse interests mean. Why would we want to see further propaganda in a Hollywood bit of soy boy and cat lady cancer, their idealized version of the world? Yeah, but our idealized version is Bolshevik globalism, whatever. Our ideal version of the word is more like the original Lord of the Rings. It's tribalism, nationalism, blood connections. We have a fundamentally different worldview. That's what we're trying to explain to you. So I thought I would answer this guy's question. I can't, of course, answer him on Twitter because I am sitting a few days out for speaking truth to power. There still is censorship on Twitter. Don't. It's better than it was. Like, you don't get kicked off, but you'll still get timeouts. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys all next episode.